Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene. Such an address of Dark Crusade Season 2. On this inglorious evening, as the young are put to bed, the labourers return home to sleep. And a house, burnt and bloodied, has a body of the departed removed from it, and the ashes of their murderer collected. We remove ourselves from the populated areas of this city and plant ourselves back in the rural outskirts of this domain. A mob, a gathering, a rebellion, an inquisition, or just a community of victims has formed. To take to the streets and reclaim their kidnapped sons and daughters, their brothers and sisters, their fathers and mothers, and dearest children. And among that riot, this mob, this army, this brotherhood of victims, why it is none other than the sister Madeleine, who, like with her lesser mortal followers, also desires to see her dearest children once more. And so this mob approaches the source of this great injustice. This eye led by the cover of mortals, a cunning guise, or the imposing figure of the lady herself.
Madeline is not at the front of this. Not yet. Although she is accompanied by her two boys who have been with her for quite some time now. And Juno has been speaking to people. She has been orchestrating a lot of this, sending messages back and forth, as one does when a mob is needed. Madeline herself is preparing mentally. She knows that her beast is probably going to be a little bit more wily, given the fact that some of these people that she might just confront tonight is Someone that's going to tug a little bit at the reins that she holds quite well over her beast, but, well, she is preparing. She is trying to prepare herself. She is not really interfering with the people, riling each other up, not adding to it, not trying to subdue it or anything. She's just moving with the crowd for the moment, ready to step forward if needed, or if they meet a clearly different crowd that would oppose them.
Yes, the blood runs hot with the rage and hatred of nearby mortals, in the presence of so many torches, an inferno to soon follow. But of course, Madeleine, you allow your mortal proxies to take the lead, or rather, an opportunity to your most fervent and reverent followers, those who perhaps see with more clarity than the rest of the devoted here, or some of the more ignorant rabble. Yes, as you rampage, or rather follow the rampage, of which leaving a trail of not extreme, but noticeable violence behind it. And then and in places where it is without violence, one of definite terror, the residents closing their windows and locking their doors, and remaining well away from the potential carnage. You approach a small church. It's always been strange to you, but perhaps it is logical that after the Crusaders were kicked out of Edessa, much of the Christian faith seems to remain in more rural areas outside the city, further from the reach of the Islamic State government, outside of the Christian quarter, of course. Perhaps just another sign of the city's internal divisions. But yes, the mob approaches the church, and it is alight. You can see it glows quite brightly. Um, it appears to be very well lit. As the mob approaches, you can see the light from the windows. And as the mob approaches, surrounding the front of the church, several would-be leaders from this rabble approach. One among your own, and one a relative of your own. The others appearing to be community leaders or just strong men / women. Come forward and demand the false preachers, those who have kidnapped their children, their brothers, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers, their nephews, nieces, and cousins. Present themselves now, or face the torch. And so it is. The doors open. To a fairly almost mixed reception. Three balding men in Dominican robes are the first to present themselves. The doors literally burst open, and there are these three men. Unarmed. Unarmored. As you peer inside, Madeleine, you can see at least one of our hostages praying before the altar of God, being consoled by a man of faith, most likely an acolyte to whoever runs this place, one of these three men, maybe. You can also see other individuals inside the church. Not all of them are your hostages, and a lot of them aren't men and women of the faith per se. A lot of them just seem to be normal people who look rather afraid of the angry mob outside. Maybe men and women having a late night prayer before returning home, or maybe this is just their preferred time for worship. It's hard to say. Does Madeleine do anything at this point?
She will get closer up to the front of the crowd. Her two boys just behind her.
Is Juno with you on this venture? Because she'd probably be at the front if she were.
She is. She is at the front. She is also here.
Then your ghoul, along with your other followers, are also at the front. She looks more well composed than most of the mob, but she is practically dressed this time. She composes herself closer to an envoy than how to say it, a guardsman or a seeker of justice or someone who is angry. She looks much more stone-faced. She looks much more presentable. Whether that's fit for the situation is debatable, but she seems to be trying to lend some manner of composure to the disorganized, angry rabble that you are engulfed in.
If it is just these three monks that is just standing like...
Yeah. And one of them, the one at the front, he appears to perhaps be the eldest. Most of them look fairly old. They're at least in their 50s. And the man at the front speaks with a fairly thick accent. As he just says, "What is this? You dare approach a place of worship with tools and weapons? Do you wish for God's wrath to be set upon you once more? Do you wish for another plague?" He seems like more astonished, like, what the, sort of
I'm just gonna have to roll something now
like
because
as in he's literally speaking to them as if like, are you asking to get yourselves killed? What's wrong with you? You know, as much as angry as he is at them, he seems more concerned that they're going to die, like they're just killing themselves right now.
yeah. Madeline is in control. She's just gonna, for the moment, let Juno speak. Do you want me to speak for her?
Yes, please do so. In this instance at least.
I
Maybe in
know
other
it's
scenes
not.
I might not be okay with it because she is an NPC, but in this scene, I'm more than happy to give you the liberty.
The thing is, she would have um,
Go on,
given
crap.
Gutria, sorry, not Gutria, Juno instructions as to what to say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, in which case, absolutely fine. Knock yourself out.
yeah,
She is serving as your voice,
mm.
and as such, you may speak.
Juno, she will just step forward and she will just say, "And in what place in the Bible does it tell you that you can kidnap people? Does it not say to turn the other cheek? Does it not preach of God's forgiveness? Yet you have taken these people. You have taken people from their homes. You have taken family members of these people. For what? With no justification. You have spilled blood. We demand answers. Now."
What's Juno's level as a ghoul?
A level 2.
Okay. Give it 6 dice. She can rile up this mob. Let's go. Or at least keep the mob on side. Yeah, 3 successes. She's solid. Yeah, the mob doesn't like roar of approval. Um, what is it does is that the atmosphere, the sort of this particular scene, uh, this situation, there's definitely a firm semblance of empathy there. Like the mob was very much like, yeah, where are they, sort of thing. They don't say anything. It's almost eerily silent. We have killed no one. Those that we have taken, we have saved from those that would seek to convert them from the true path into one of utmost violation. For they have been tempted by creatures of Satan and his agents here upon this earth to commit acts of great depravity upon themselves, to be turned
Okay.
into vessels of mutilation and pain.
Madeline at this point is just going to go forward and she will just say,
We seek to save your sons and daughters and your families from harm, not to perpetuate it.
"Did Christ not suffer for all of us? Was suffering not his greatest gift to mankind? What does your holy book say of his suffering?"
I have them make a theology check to see if they can make a fair argument, because that is a very strong argument.
And that's actually, yeah, it actually is
It's
fairly.
it's logically sound in the context of the narrative. It's a very solid argument. It's difficult to argue against, so they need to consider their words carefully. They do get 3 successes, so they're keeping pace if nothing else. Like they're not. They give no quarter.
We respect
Oh,
the Lord's.
I was gonna
Oh,
give
okay.
them
Sorry.
their argument. Basically, it's one of image versus being. So while it is most honorable and good and righteous to seek to reach the virtues of the Holy Son, it is another to claim that one's suffering is the same. But we are not the Holy Son. If it were so simple for us to suffer so that our sins may be forgiven, then would it have been necessary for Jesus Christ to have ever walked this earth at all?
Madeline will begin to, step.
It's a fairly thin argument they give, but it has some degree of legitimacy.
She begins to step a bit closer, and she'll just say, "Anyone you have met of us have ever claimed that? I do not believe so. His sacrifice was for all of mankind. I would respect that. We would not in any way seem to be on his stead or be as him. That is not what we claim. We see through his suffering, his strength, his divine purpose. And through suffering, we gain a little bit of his strength by seeing through the pain, by conquering pain, by conquering all diversity, for all suffering that might come of hunger, physical pain, or mental pain. In conquering it, we will become stronger in faith, in body, and in spirit."
And yet the voice of God himself gives no credence to these claims.
What would you know of the voice of God? Does he speak to you often?
He does here. Wow, you are just straight up dissing the Pope, and that's kind of a big deal in this time period. So,
No, she was talking about him specifically, but
oh yeah. Which case?
she is pointing more or less at him, like what does God tell him specifically? But yeah.
Oh, well, awkward dissonance time. He slams his hand on the wall and says, "The Pope's decree is law. He has given no credence to your claims. The only one among us so worthy, so blessed, that he had the honor of serving as God's voice on this earth. For if God did desire your ways, would he have not told his voice? And would he have not showered you in his blessings? Would he have not rewarded you for your suffering?
Oh, he has. She smiles at him very, very warmly. My faith is a lot stronger than yours. My body, stronger than yours. I have been duly rewarded. It is only when cowards and fools are so blinded that they cannot see what is in front of them.
Would the coward stand before an army that desires his head?
A fool might.
We are at peace with whatever our fate may be. But we sought to save those who we saw slipping from the true path and into one of violence.
And what true path might that be? There are quite a few opinions, even within the Holy Church, would you not say, about what this true path is? Do the three of you agree in all things of what the true path is?
There is more than one route to heaven, but it is easy to slip off them all. We do not deny that there are differences, but there is contrast in a simple difference of opinion in what is known to be accepted, encouraged, and to be known.
Our
And
philosophical
your ways that only lead to darkness at the end of an already dark tunnel. A trial, a tribulation that offers no reward for those who walk it. One endorsed only by the unholy. You make me perception empathy?
That sounds like a empathy?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a correct roll for this. I'd say empathy. Well,
Three
so
successes.
okay, it is.
If it is about truths,
It's not necessarily about that. What you have noticed is that this is not like it is easy. It's an easy argument for the players to slip into to basically scapegoat to create the dreaded enemy. Of course, it is the other. It is easy to rile people and to get people to fall in line by inventing an enemy. That's something these people are doing, but there are some eerie connotations to this. Like, a part of you wonders if they've heard something.
well, pious people might talk to some other pious people she knows of.
This seems a little bit. You're not sure because it is very easy to just assume that they're just trying to scapegoat. It would hardly be the first time you've heard this. At the same time, they keep bringing it up, and They're targeting your group. That's a weird coincidence.
Hmm. Madeline will think of that. Keep that in mind as she just
Do you have
again.
I'll say a small folk. You're aware this church isn't like considered rogue or anything. It is considered part of the established religious structures of this city. Obviously, you understand that the people of Errol are not that, but then either contradicts the sort of supposition and there's nothing to worry about, or you have a lot to worry about in the near future.
You may not be aware of your role. I do not know. You might do this with the best of intentions. Believe me, I used to be a cloistered sister. I understand what most people in places like this think. And you are doing the best. I believed so myself at one point. But I have learned much about this world. You are keeping, you say you save these people, keep them on the true path. What you do is that you shield them. You take away all that the, and she will just gesture the people, to the people behind her. All of these people take their faith into their own hands. They strengthen themselves in the image of our Lord. You would shield them. You would castrate them of their own power, of their own faith, and shield it, hide it away. This is what you do, whether you know it or not. I wish to save as many people I can from this. I wish to spread the truth that this world is a tough, dangerous, and quite violent place. But to hide from these things is not the way to overcome them. Through tempering your own mind, to resist the slings, to resist the blows that this world will inevitably give you, is the way to make yourself stronger and overcome all of it. This holds true for me, as it holds true for you.
It is true that we are rarely aware of our role. The Lord has a role for all of us. And I am at peace, knowing in the end that God forgives for whatever my wrongdoing, our wrongdoing, your wrongdoing. God is kind, too kind, more than we deserve. But would God's role for us involve us killing each other at the ends of a pitchfork? Burning down the home, a much needed home of the needy, at the end of a torch. Is this truly your role? Would the Lord want this? I do not believe that the Lord desires the violation of his very commandments.
I do not pretend to know the mind of God, but I know the minds of these people. They wish to see their family members, to speak with them. Surely you must be able to see that such a gesture of good faith would go a long way, no? As you care for these people, as you wish to save them, so you must understand that their sisters, parents, family are as concerned for them, if not more.
I have seen the injuries these flagellants inflict upon themselves. I have had to treat them.
A small price for very, very useful strength and knowledge
For whom?
to those practicing it. Those willing to learn, those with the courage.
You said you know the minds of these people. Of that I agree. But you play with that knowledge.
How
You
dare you?
claim not to know the will of God, and yet you practice a path so apart from what is commonly understood, and claim it gives you strength and knowledge. Is that not claiming to know the will of God, to claim that this is good, to suggest that it is so?
Was it not you who just said that there is very many paths to God mere moments ago?
And yet yours remains unfounded.
My strength, my conviction, the faith, the strength that we all share is proof enough.
Yes, the sadism is evident in the injuries I've had to treat. The joy in such mutilation and torture is clear. I understand why these people would want to see their families again. And once they are well, I would be more than happy for that to happen. But I cannot allow them to go back to hurting themselves, to breaking themselves without purpose, for the benefits of others, to spread such a joy in the face of those who would only bring them pain. To just repeat the violent cycle. Clever. He's contesting your hold over these people.
Yeah, and he's using some language that is out of character, quite close to someone who probably knows a lot more than he's letting on.
It's very suggestive. Yeah, you're definitely picking that up. Like, this doesn't really do well to kind of reduce your paranoia in this particular issue. Like, there is definitely the sort of viewpoint of this person, and definitely as this conversation keep going on, they're not just scapegoating and building another. They seem to believe it. They seem to genuinely believe that there is a greater force behind these mutilations, and it's not benevolent, or rather behind flagellantism and your movement. They don't. And obviously, there's been some minor implication that it's you, but it's not really. That's very much kind of shallow. Like it's sort of they might be implying you're a pawn or something, or just something else. Um, but there's definitely real belief that not only is there a greater evil behind this, that it genuinely isn't leading to anything good. That yeah, and he's suggesting that have your lives gotten better by bringing pain to yourselves because I just see a bunch of mutilated bodies um, that have only drifted from the path of God. Nothing has changed, only your bodies which are now broken. And that's probably the strongest argument he's made so far. Like it's a little bit less theological. It's kind of still steeped in that sense. But it's a sort of, would the Lord want you to hurt yourself like this when he himself suffered so much for you so that you would not have to because he could not bear to see you suffer? Is this not insulting his sacrifice sort of argument? But there is a sort of, and you can understand that, like, he is, at least this man who's speaking for the group is not doing so out of malicious, like, they generally do believe they're doing the right thing. They do seem like as certain as you are, which is leaving you at a bit of an impasse, at least in terms of negotiation. They definitely don't seem willing to let the people go there. They've more or less said that they're not going to. Like, they'd rather die. The people inside don't necessarily agree, but these three people definitely do, and they seem to be the people running this whole shindig. They seem fairly at peace. They don't even seem particularly scared. I will not stand by while we teach each other how to abuse one another.
Abuse? You really are as ignorant as I believe. I torture myself. I instruct my followers from time to time to show me pain. But this has made me so much stronger than I was before. I was taught this by the ways of the clergy when they ravaged my body. Noble knights taking me for themselves. I understand what this world brings, and the scars it puts on you. I merely wish to make everyone who is willing as strong or stronger than myself. And there is few ways to do this, none of which is by the three of you standing here, parading some sense of false assuredness of your superiority over me or anyone behind me. Do you realize how long I was in that cloister. Do you realize what words these, the Mother Superior and others, forced on me? And the one moment I lapsed after 15 years of devout service to this Lord, what happened? Forgiveness? Was I forgiven by anyone? No, I was cast aside. I was thrown.
Ooh, you're heading into a less sympathetic argument now because these people still believe in God, as in the mob.
Yeah,
They're
but
still under that guise.
she is saying that she's making it very clear that it was the people in the cloister that failed her. It was.
Roll me charisma expression just because this is potentially really dangerous ammunition, depending on how you word it. So yeah, just make that check. As long as you don't botch it horribly. Don't botch it horribly. Fucking Christ, don't.
Yeah, you know what? I will. Uh,
Because they're like, wait, what? You left the cloister? What the fuck? This is the person representing us? Is what they're going to latch onto rather than you were cast out
what did
by
you say?
false teachers and evil men.
Charisma? What?
Just charisma expression.
I'm going to spend a willpower on that.
Okay, yeah, it's expression because you're trying to articulate yourself and persuade. That's 4 successes, so you are fine. If anything, your argument has the inverse effect of what I was suggesting, where they latch on. Yes, they latch on to the fact that yes, you were failed by these, effectively these self superior elitists who do not follow what they practice.
How many people in cloistered homes have turned away these people? All of these people have been turned away from these people in these houses. Should they not spread the word of God? That it is, well, easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. And yet they hoard wealth to themselves. They fail me. They failed me. They fail the common man day after day because they are weak. We are strong. We are the righteous in this, and you are in our way.
So he looks at you again. There is a degree of tiredness on his face now. Do I look rich to you? I do not speak for the others among my faith, though I so desperately hope that they are not what you claim. But they are not what this is about. And I can tell you with confidence and joy in my heart that we have never turned anyone away from this place. As you can see, he literally gestures, and there are people in there.
And yet they do not seem in any way as certain as you in your case.
Perhaps they are afraid for their lives because there is an angry armed mob at our doorstep. I do not blame them.
The only ones who should be fearing the people who would stand in our way.
Such is always the logic of conquerors and killers. But we are done talking. I will wish you well. Sorry, I wish you all well. And good night. All I ask is that you return to your homes peaceably. I do not wish for blood to be spilled this day. And the tree just begins walking back into the church, blowing you off hard, and kind of this mob in a way. Like he puts them down far more gently than he does you. I mean, he actually tries to make an effort for them. Like, obviously, he doesn't want anyone to die. But he certainly more or less just called you just nothing more than a killer at this point. Like your logic is just one of a murderer. Might makes right. So makes
Madeline will just call out to him and will just say, "You lying coward, face me!" And she'll begin to walk up towards him.
as 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 you walk up the steps, his two followers just slam the door shut in your face and bar it. Literally in your face. As you walk up to that door, you can literally feel the breeze, the air gust, the gust of air that comes through from these two doors being slammed shut, just hit your face. Just can you make me a quick self-control check? Because I know you have vengeance towards these sort of people, and they just fucking
Would
blew
be
you off.
instinct, or since I do not have self-control.
Yeah, it would definitely be an instinct check. Oh boy. Instinct does work a little bit differently, but it's more like you're kind of controlling your rage rather than
Well,
suppressing
depending
it.
on the difficulty, I do have
I'll just put it at standard. It's fine. I don't think because they haven't engaged in violence with you, and they're actually trying to be de-escalating in terms of violence. They haven't threatened you in any way. These are nothing more than words. And with your vengeance, even raising that diff, I still think it would just be standard. So you are able to control yourself and direct that anger in a productive fashion. As I BRB, I apologize.
quite all right. Chris is still not back. Still not back. Chris is back.
Yes. Sorry, what do you do?
Intermission is over.
Intermission is over. You ready to burn down a church?
Well, we still need the people out, but
Oh yeah, well, I mean, this mob is about as almost as well, not nearly as pissed off as you are, but for you are fueled by a wrath that few of them could possibly understand. But they are they want to see their fucking families and their relatives. They just got told to
before
fuck off.
they like the mob is a bit away, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're up the steps. That's really the only change in. I mean, and there are a few steps away because the leaders of this group, like you, are at the front. So yeah, there are a few steps back, but now they're like a few of them take a steps forward. They begin to get rowdy and loud.
Madeline is gonna looks at that door. She really just want to break that shit down because fuck those guys.
You probably just put your hand up to it, and you're just like so tempted to just clasp your hand and just
I'm
crumple
actually
it.
not sure if Madeline is gonna try and do it, despite someone might rightfully question why the door just gave in like that. Well, it potentially could. No. She will contain herself for a moment. She will have, but she will stand there, and she will have people as they come up, start to break the door in, and she will get a couple of heavy lads, especially her boys, up to help.
Oh, this smells so fucking ready. So your boys come up. A lot of the members of the mob at the front offer their help. The others are like, it takes a bit of like some of the more like the leaders have to get the rest of them to stand back.
Yeah. When there's like a lot of people, Madeline will help out, cough, cough, but it will look a little bit more believable that the door
It'll
gets...
look like it's being knocked down by like a group of people,
She will contain herself until that is a thing.
And like, I mean, you've got people going at this with like pitchforks and axes and stuff and trying to pierce through the door, which is not that hard.
Yeah. And then she is just gonna fucking, like, when they're pushing, she's gonna help out a bit, let's just say. And it's probably gonna be fairly effective because, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no problem. With your level of potency, it is trivial. You easily break through the door. People are going at it with whatever they have on hand. Some are going at it with hatchets. Some going at it with pitchforks. Some's going at it with torches. You easily break down the door. It just crumples and splinters and wood flies. and people start, and the mob just starts pouring into the church, into this would be a monastery. The mob quickly restrains, finds the hostage praying at the altar. The mob just grabs them. You're not sure if it's a relative. It's probably not, to be honest. They're just looking to grab people. I will let you describe. I'll let Madeleine go over how this is dealt with. As although the mob is very much has a mind of its own, how does Madeleine direct its rage?
Madeline will. Yeah, she is actually of two minds right now. She enjoys the fact that she's taken it to these people. I mean, it is not the biggest place. There is like these three people, probably a couple of more like servants or altar people. Like there aren't that many. It's not a large monastery by any stretch, but yeah, seeing them get manhandled, these three people, does put a fairly significant smile, maybe not on her face, but at least in her mind. There's something inside her that really enjoys having these people restrained and having these people being responsible for that. These people are getting a taste of just the conviction of these people, the strength of these people. And yeah, material things in here will just get looted, smashed. These are elitist people who have committed a crime against this group, against the common man of this city. And yeah, such things shouldn't be left unpunished. Things in here will get smashed. Things will, like, probably a lot of looting as well. Like, you know, I mean, why not? Why not just take a bunch of shit? The place will just get completely destroyed. The three people, well, the guy who spoke for them will probably be subdued, and Madeline will have her two boys take him with them. And yeah, the mob will go crazy, and all of that anger, even though they have their family members back, she will let them get all of these frustrations of the plague, of what has been happening, their general position in life. All of that will just be poked at just a little bit at this place, and all of that anger, all of that pent up rage, for whatever reasons, will just be let loose in this place. And yeah, it will be very beautiful for Madeline to just not really lift a finger herself. She will just stand there and enjoy the spectacle.
The mob runs wild. The hostages are almost all secured in a less than professional manner. They're largely just grabbed and then hauled and then kind of shifted throughout the mob until they reach someone who they actually care enough about to latch onto. For the most part, it's actually quite a heartening reunion. A daughter and her mother are reunited, a nephew and his uncle, a son and his father, a cousin and his other cousin. There's only one person who's not accounted for among the hostages. You noticed that when you bashed the door down, that they had actually been sending people out to flee throughout the back door. A lot of the people unaffiliated, the people, the needy, those who needed this place, who stayed here, managed to flee by and large. Some of them did not. Many who were considered to be a part of this false priesthood, those who stole children and relatives, family members from their own families and homes, do not leave this place, as do any who look as if they are part of this priesthood, of this monastic order. They are peppered in stab wounds and hatchet wounds and cuts and bruises. Many are just beaten to death, but none of them live. And most of the deaths are quite slow. The banners are torn down as the mob just kind of spills over this place. A lot of the furnishings just splintered and cracked and broken. Detritus just kind of litters the area. The valuables are looted. The glass is smashed. And torches fly and are inevitably dropped as the monastery at the end of this night inevitably drowns in flame. And as much as there would be desire to time for celebration, unfortunately this is not the case. For while this mob has been forming, and while the damage it deals is significant, catastrophic, one might even suggest, the city watch does not wait. Neither does the military. To arrive only 10-15 minutes later, after this monastery is burning in a blaze, to disperse this mob. And like with the monastery burning itself, this too is violent, and more than a few among the small folk die, although fortunately many will live to tell of this victory against such false preachers and their violations against their families.
And as Madeline, well, some ways away, with the only real survivor of these false preachers, with her two boys, Juno and some of the others, heading back to the city, she looks at this preacher and just thinks to herself that she needs to talk with him. She needs to make sure that this guy is, well, she needs to know exactly what he knows and how he knows. She thinks of the best way to get some answers out of him. But that is for tomorrow night, as this night and this scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, ST for ST, and watchers for watching. Good night.